Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All of us have everything we need to succeed in life. When you were born and your family took care of you and raised you to the person you are today, they all had hopes and dreams for you to become successful and happy in life. And they gave you all the gifts that you will need to succeed. What many of us fail to do, though, is to plan to succeed. Here we are at CVCC, and in a few months or longer, you'll be graduating with a degree, with all the skills you need to be a successful employee. And as you go into the workforce, and you meet people that can help you, are you ready to succeed? Do you have what it takes to succeed? We're going to talk about a project we're all going to do together today, which is the You Project. The first part of that You Project is to discover something about yourself. What kind of person are you? I've given you a handout, and in this handout, there's some very basic questions. What kind of person are you? Are you the kind of person who likes to create new things? Are you the kind of person who likes to take what exists and make connections between things? Are you the kind of person who likes to develop things that never existed before? Or are you the kind of person that just likes to get out there and do things? You can take this quiz as I'm talking to you. Be honest with the questions that are asked. And at the end of the quiz, you total up those points. You're going to discover something about yourself that tells you something about perhaps what you should be doing in life and a lot about how you should be preparing in life. The topic of today's seminar is planning and preparation, how to succeed in life. The job market today is very competitive, more than ever before. It's not just about schooling, it's about what you know, how you can help the employer, and how you handle yourself. After years of going to school and graduating, let's suppose that now you have a resume in your hand. And let's suppose that you actually call the employer and you now have an interview set up. And let's suppose that now is your first opportunity to sit across the desk from someone that can give you a job that will determine your future for the next couple of years. And you want so bad to do a good job. So what can I tell you in a few brief minutes that will make a difference for you as you sit across the desk from that future employer? That person who, as it turns out, is just like you. At some point in time, that person was sitting across the desk from somebody just like you. What can I tell you that will make a difference each and every time in everything you do, not only in that job interview, but once you get the job, as you come to work every day, eager to make a contribution to society? The answer is planning and preparation. If you plan and you prepare, you can do anything. Take, for example, a student like yourself, and you have an interview at Central Health as a summer intern. Let's suppose that was your dream. You want to work at Central Health one day. What can you do to prepare for that opportunity? What are the things that you might do? Think about it. The first is research. What kind of research can you do for a job like that? Well, perhaps you would get a job description from the employer. What kind of job is it? What are the hours? Where do you work? What do you do? Who will you be working with? What are you going to be doing for them? And then you might ask yourself, what specific skills do I have that would help that person? Maybe I like to fix cars. Maybe they need someone to help fix things. Maybe I'm really good with people. Maybe I have a nice smile. Maybe people like being around me and easy to talk with. Maybe I belong in customer service. Maybe there's some specific skill set that I've picked up along the way. It doesn't show up on my resume. And you want to share that with that person to let them know that you're an eager beaver. You are there to contribute. So maybe you know somebody that works there. Maybe you know someone that works at Central Health. Do you have friends who work at Centra Health? Maybe you call them, find out what it's like to work at Centra Health. This is a real example. My daughter works at Centra Health as a volunteer. One day, perhaps, she'll work at Centra Health as a paid employee. It's not only what you know, it's who you are and how you're able to communicate who you are to others. And then practice. Just because you got an interview, that's the first step. Now you want to practice. How do you practice? Well, if you have a friend, maybe you can practice with your friend the interview. Practice answering questions about who you are and what you'd like to do and what skills you have. Or maybe you could go to some of the same seminars that are offered right here at CVCC, seminars on interviewing skills, seminars on preparing a resume. Take advantage of all that. Store it up. Use those free seminars to make you a better potential employee and preparation. Now, preparation for an interview, just like preparation for anything in life, you can start by visualizing you yourself having a successful interview and actually getting the job. Mental preparation. Imagine that you actually get what you want in life. Don't worry about the negatives. Think about actually getting there and doing that and being that person you wanted to be. And how do you do that? Well, one of the easy things to think about is, how do you dress? You show up in nice clothes and you look good, and after a while you keep doing that and you feel good. Your attitude determines your altitude. If you act and behave in a way that's consistent with what you want to be in life, one day you will be there and do that thing. Now, the other thing that's really important, and that's important not just for an interview, but for all of you, each and every one of you, and that's your long-term thinking. Each of you should have some kind of long-term goals of things that you'd like to do. Let's say 5 years from now. 5 years is a long time. Okay, let's say 3 years from now. Where would you like to be? What would you like to do? What are your long-term goals? Do you have long-term goals? If you don't have long-term goals, then we need to talk. And let's talk about SMART goals. Have you heard about SMART goals before? Raise your hand if you've heard about SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. You have goals, they're SMART goals. Nothing can stop you. When you start to think in terms of those long-term goals, this gives you the edge that makes it possible for you to overcome all those things that distract you, that potentially can keep you from getting where you need to be. If you have goal setting as part of your life, today it's like the breakfast of champions. For you, it's like that extra vitamin that appears and will make you stronger and more capable than you could ever dream possible. And without goals, you'll drift from day to day. Time will go, into the future, time after time, slipping away with nothing happening. Setting goals makes all the difference, but setting SMART goals, specific, measurable, actionable, reasonable, time-bound, makes you the superhero that you can be. So first of all, if a goal is not specific, why is that a bad thing? Well, let's say, I just want to be happy. I just want to be happy. Is that a specific goal? Is that specific enough for me to be happy? But I want to be happy teaching in front of a college classroom one day. That's a very specific goal. That's a goal that I had in mind a long time ago. And now that's what I did. It's likely that if you didn't have a goal, life is like that beach. It comes and just, the waves just come up on the beach and wash away your sandcastle, and the next morning all you have is sand left. But a goal is putting a castle up on a hill and putting one stone at a time until one day you'll have the castle that you wish you wanted to have. So specific goal has to be specific, something very, very specific. I mean, down to the description of if it's something you want to do. I mean, down to how it looks and smells and how it feels. Measurable is important too. Suppose you have a goal, but you can't describe it. It's like, oh yes, I'll be happy one day if I meet a certain person, or I think I'll be happy one day if I have a certain kind of car, but you can't describe it. If you can't tell others about it, they can't see it too, then your goal exists only in your head. You have to be able to explain your goals to others. If you can say, one day I'd like to own my own auto body shop. I want it right there on Timberlake. I want it to have a friendly sign. I want people to come walk in knowing that when they come into my shop, that they will come out with a good service at a fair price, and their car will work every time. That's a very specific goal. Very measurable goal. If you want others to agree with your goal, you have to share that goal. If you have mom and dad to talk to, and you share that goal, yeah, mom and dad, I'd like to be an airline stewardess one day. And mom and dad will say, well, do you have the skill set? Do you have the personality for it? Don't worry about all that. Worry about, is that what you want? Then you'll find the ways to make those things happen. The goal must be described in ways that you can answer the following questions. Why? Why do you want that goal? It has to burn in here. Why do you want that goal? How? When? Where? Who? Answer all those questions. Who can help you get those goals? Is it a college teacher? Is it a friend? Is it a counselor? Find the answers to those questions, and you will have the goals. You will have the people on your team that you need to make yourself a goal seeker, goal achiever. So, look at that list in front of you. The list of who you are, the questions that you will ask yourself. Am I a connector? Am I a doer? Am I a creator? Developer, doer, or creator? Which kind of person am I? It turns out if you are in column 1, you like to connect dots, you like to work with others, you'd be a great facilitator. You'd be great in front of a classroom, making those connections. You'd be great introducing one person to another. Maybe you do that already. Now, in column 2, you are a doer. You like to get things done. You are a doer. And you look at your scores, and you are also a doer. You can't wait to get things done. You're not patient with people. You are a very impatient person, but you like to get things done. At the end of the day, you get things done. And you are, like me, you are a developer. You take what God gives you, you take that coffee, and you make champagne out of it. And you are a doer. But doers make the world go round.
I have a tie.
I have a tie. But you are a doer, but you also like to get things done. And so as you answer those questions, be honest with yourself, because it does matter who you are when it comes to the next question. Actionable. If I said I want to be a running back for the, what was that team that played Sunday? The
Chiefs.
The Chiefs. I want to be a running back for Chiefs. Who you are, do you have the muscles for it? Okay, that does make a difference. I want to run in the Olympics. Does that make a difference? Who you are? Yes, you have to have some, your goals are important, but who you are makes it possible for those goals to happen. Now, a lot of people never get started on their goals because they think, oh, I'm not big enough, strong enough, fast enough, smart enough. But everybody at some point had to start somewhere. So, keeping a diary is a good idea. So let's say, years go on. What's that diary telling you? That diary telling you what? Are you faithful? Are you faithful to the most important person? Well, other than God, faithful to God. But are you faithful to yourself as years go by? Do you keep a diary? Do you keep track of your goals? Write it down every day. What am I doing for my goals today? Because no one else is going to keep track. No one else is going to be the fire pushing you forward. You need to be the engine that drives your success. It's really easy to slip back and make a mode of, yeah, it's okay today, it's a bright and sunny day, and life is good, and nothing so much is happening. Yeah, but if you have goals, and you have a diary, and in your diary you say nothing has happened today, shame on you. Because those goals need you to put something in, like money in the bank every day. And for a while, you have achieved your goal without even realizing it. And then what happens? Then you set new goals. Then you set new opportunities. Do you want to be the person in those goals? That's the question. Are you willing to pay the price? That little voice on your shoulders that says, no, I can't do this. Or that voice in the back of your friend says, no, you don't need to do that. Or that voice that you hear, it says, no, it's not worth it. That's your worst enemy. That's not your friend. That is somebody who's pulling you down. And in order to fight that, you need to have a stronger voice. You need to have the voice that says, yes, I can. Yes, I will. Let me all hear you say, yes, I can.
Yes, I can.
Yes, I will.
Yes, I will.
Today is the day.
Today.
You know what the enemy of the excellent is? The enemy of the excellent is good enough. If it's good enough, if you want to eat a burger that's cold, and the fries are cold, and the soda is not cold, then it's good enough, and you're okay with that, then that's what you get. How do I know if the goal is actual? How do I know if I have what it takes to get the goal? Well, suppose I want to be in the Olympics, but I know I'm not built for the Olympics. Well, maybe I can change the goal. What about Special Olympics? I can do that. I can offer my services as a counselor in the Special Olympics. I can help young, retarded, young, mentally challenged people to achieve their goals to be in the Special Olympics. But how do I know even I can do that? Well, let me try. Let me volunteer. Let me see what it's like. And after going to a few dozen meetings, I found out I was pretty good at that. All they needed me to do was to learn how to drive a bus. And I would drive that bus around Virginia, and I would take them from point A to point B. And when they got there, I would teach them how to do things. We would have basketball competitions and running competitions. And you know what? After that, I had the confidence that if I could help them, I could help others. All I had to do was volunteer myself, get off my butt and put it into gear. And I'm reminded of an event, a sports event in Norfolk in 1984. We were at a track meet, and there's 5 young people lined up for the race, going off. And they start to run. And they're running, and they're getting closer to the finish line. And this one young girl, her name was Lisa, she fell down. She scraped her knee. And each of those other 4 young people turned around and during the middle of the race and went back and picked up Lisa. And they carried her across the finish line. And being mentally retarded, you think, well, how did they know that that was the right thing to do? Was that a smart thing to do? Go back and pick up Lisa, take her across the line? May not have been smart to others who think winning is the only thing that's important in life. But those young people knew that Special Olympics was about making everybody a winner. And you, in your life, are you about winning at all costs? Or maybe what you're about is you're a connector. Maybe you like to connect people. Maybe you like to make others, facilitate winning for others. So, actionable, yes. So, realistic goal. Is the goal realistic? Diana Nyad, 60 years of age. This lady had been swimming all her life. She was one of the first women to swim across the English Channel. And that is more than a 20-mile stretch of cold water, let me tell you. And it's salty and the water is choppy, and she did that at a young age. But now she's 60 years of age, and she has the one goal left that she thought she would never accomplish. She wanted to be the first person to swim across the Gulf. I'm talking about the Gulf of Mexico. This is where there's sharks in the water, and they have jellyfish. And so just a month ago, back in September, she got into the water in Cuba. And 55 hours later, this lady got out of the water, having been the first person to swim across the Gulf of New Mexico. And how did she do that? Well, first of all, she prepared, and this is what we're talking about today, plan to succeed. What was keeping her back? She wasn't afraid of the sharks. She knew sharks don't attack like things that they recognize. Sharks mistake people for seals, and they'll bite a seal, but normally they'll leave people alone. And she had a lot of boats around her. No, sharks are not going to bother with the boats. But what was the one thing that she had a plan for? It was the jellyfish. The jellyfish will sting you everywhere on your body that's exposed, and your face gets stung, and after a while you can't breathe because of your face swells up. So what did she do? She created a mask. She protected herself with a mask. With that mask on her face, it was hard to breathe, but she was able to swim 55 hours later, get out of the water, and be the first person to have done that because she planned to succeed. She knew what it was that she needed to do to accomplish her goal. And what if she had failed? She could only have failed by not getting in the water. Because she said to herself, in my lifetime, at some point, even at the age of 60 years of age, she's going to accomplish that goal. But not just out of the blue. She'd been swimming her whole life. She was an accomplished swimmer. She had done other things. She knew she could do it. Who was the only person telling her not to? It was herself. So what if she hadn't got in the water? No one would know. No one knows what you don't do. No one knows what you don't say. No one knows what's in your mind right now that you don't share with others. I don't know if in this room right now is a very talented engineer, a very talented caregiver. I don't know if in this room right now is a very talented salesman. I don't know if in this room right now there might be somebody who will contribute something to this country that's unimaginable today. I don't know. Unless you come out and you show me what it is that you can do. And it may be something that others wouldn't see as great, but you see it as great. Your goal is great. Say, my goal is great. My goal is great. My goal is worthy. And time bound. We can all say that we have a lot of time left. Oh, we're going to live to be 70 years of age, and I've got plenty of time for that. We'll go to that school next year. We'll apply for that grant next year. But time runs out. For everyone, someday will not have the luxury of time. And so if we want to get something done, we have to be bound to a rule of time. We have to set a time limit. If I want to be happy, let's say, if I want to have that opportunity occur in my lifetime, and I'm 20 years of age, I'm going to give myself a goal. 5 years from now, I'm going to do what it is I say I'm going to do. And not a day later, 5 years from now, that's when I'm going to do it. That way, you have what's called milestones. That way you can say, every day that goes by from now until 5 years from now, that's a day that I can say I did something to my goal. That's a day in my diary when I write it down. That's the day. The opposite of not doing it time bound, that's called procrastination. Procrastination is your enemy. Sabotaging your own progress of things that you could have done, but you let it to another day. That's basically my talk. But in summary, let me tell you a little bit about myself. And then I offer that you can contact me at any time. I'll give you my information. And you can ask me questions, and you can hook up with me on campus. I teach here in the chemistry department, but I also work over at CVCC. I've been there 12 years. I have 2 children, a wife here in town. And I belong to an organization called Toastmasters, and then we meet here Tuesday nights, 2nd and 4th Tuesdays, and we meet tonight. We meet down the hall in 2401, and what we do is practice public speaking. Public speaking is each and every time you get up to speak, you have to plan to succeed, you have to prepare. So being a member of Toastmasters has given me an opportunity to give a lot of speeches. And each of those speeches, I would plan to prepare. I would prepare. They say that prior preparation on the part of the performer prevents a poor performance. Well, it's a lot of P's there, but it's true. When you prepare, even little things, like if you have a homework assignment, or if you have an interview coming up, or if you just want to do something, if you prepare it, you'll do a lot better. You were given the gifts to be successful. You were given everything you need to be happy in life. Will you reach out to others? Will you reach within yourself and find those gifts and bring them to the light of day? Will you write down your goals? Will you share them with others? Will you set yourself some SMART goals today? It's really up to you. And anyone else who you'd like to ask for help? Do it. Any questions for me? Yeah.
Hey, what time, are students allowed at Toast?
Very much so.
What time
We
does that
meet
start?
This evening at 6:30, and it's right down the hall. It's literally within 20 yards of here, 2401.
Mm-hmm.
And you are more than welcome. We'd love to have you come and see what we do. We encourage what we do. We encourage people to share through the spoken word. We encourage people to speak what it is they know. And everybody is an expert on themselves, and everybody has a story that they should tell, or that you can tell. Part of what we do is storytelling. We have contests throughout twice a year. We have a storytelling contest. We have an evaluation contest in the fall. And in the spring, we have what's called an inspirational and motivational contest, along with a humorous contest, because yes, we like to do humor as well. We think that when you are having fun, that's when you enjoy things, that's when you learn things, when you're having a good time. If you're going to school and you hate it, you're not learning much. If you go to school and you're having a good time, more likely when you are having a good time is when you are learning. When your teacher is the kind of person that can make it fun, that's when you learn. And this is how we are at Toastmasters. We believe in supporting each other. If we're going to tell you how to be better, we're not going to tell you about what you did wrong. We're going to tell you about what you did right, so that you can repeat that. And repetition of good actions leads to good performance. It's being better. It's like if you were going to go into a gymnasium and play a game of basketball, and you're going to do the jump shot, and you're going to do that jump shot over and over and over again until you get just the right motion of the hands, and you get just the right arc, and you judge that ball and that rim just right. And after a while, you get your percentages up.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you only hit 2 out of 3, but after a while, you get to where you're hitting 7 out of 10 consistently, 9 out of 10 consistently. That makes you valuable. That gives you self-confidence. Where do you get confidence from? You get confidence when you repeat successful actions. Where does confidence come from? It's not, you can't get it off the shelf, you can't get it in a can. Confidence comes when you do the right actions and you perform them well. And it only comes from doing it over again, finding a good teacher, or finding a good group of people that you can share that experience with, and doing that again and again until you become an expert. That's what experts are.